Good morning, fellow comic readers. This is the House of Nerd Show. I'm your host for today, Steve, followed by Sergio, who's right up there.
Hey, what's going on? Good morning, guys. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, and no, I mean, yes, you do need to get your eyes checked, but no, you're not wrong. Lauren is not here for today. We had to send her away to get some correctional courses done because of how much she dislikes the Brits. We can't have that on this show, right? We can't have that. So she's going to take a bit of a recess for today. She'll be back next Sunday. But in her place, we have Emmet from the Let's Go podcast. Emmet, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, guys. First of all, thank you so much for having me on. I tweeted out this morning. I watch you guys every Sunday morning, and it's an honor to be asked to come on and talk with you guys. So just thanks so much for having me on.
Thanks for coming on the show, bro.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm honored that we're doing a little bit of a Canadian thing too. So that's kind of cool.
There we go. We have to wrap. Three good old Canadian boys on the show today, guys.
That's right.
So we're excited, man. The lone American, the Brit hater is not here. We miss you, Lauren. We love you, but.
We love the Brits more. God save the Queen and all that jazz. As a part of the Dominion of Canada, we love the British people.
Commonwealth, baby.
Yeah, the Commonwealth. Yeah.
And
before we get into the rundown, I want to find out more about the Let's Go podcast that you do.
Yeah.
Could you talk about all the different stuff that you have going on there?
Yeah, so I'm a member of the Let's Go Podcast Network. It's a website where we talk about and review movies, comics, TV shows, and more. I do a show with Chris Evans on usually Saturday or Sunday nights where we just kind of get together on YouTube and chat with some cool friends. Sergio's been on before. Lauren's been on before. So I guess that means, Steve, you're up next.
I hope so.
So the editor-in-chief, Justin, and Matt do a show, Let's Go Comics Show, that comes out every Friday. So you can just go to the Let's Go Podcast on Twitter, as you see right there, or just go to www.letsgopodcast.com, where you can find reviews for everything under the sun. That's where you'll find my stuff anyways.
Perfect. And it's perfect that you've got a comic show, because this is a comic show. We're here to talk about comics, right? So as Sergio already alluded to, here's the rundown for this morning's episode. We've got our usual week in review, followed by a special segment that Sergio has cooked up. All I know is Olympics is involved. I guess we want to pay tribute to what's currently going on in the world.
The Canadian Comics Olympics, guys, man. We're taking advantage. It's the All Canadian show. And I told y'all it was a bring your own maple syrup event. I came prepared. Check out this bad boy right there. All right. That's a limited edition gold medal winning Canadian maple syrup from our homeboy, the one and only Captain Canuck, guys. So, I hope everybody came prepared. I'm ready, man. I'm hyped.
Yeah.
Hyped.
So stick around for our second segment where Sergio's got that planned, whatever it is. Our main discussion is going to be on controversial editorial decisions,
Yes.
the pros and cons to them, and how they have shaped the comic industry. And after that, we're going to do a TO comic book show shout out. And finally, to cap off the episode, last week, Lauren told us to read Amazing Fantasy #1. So we will be reviewing that for our Copper Drop.
Okay.
And then Emmet, as our guest here, Sergio and myself will have to try to sway him to pick one of our books for next week's Copper Drop.
I'm excited for that one. I'm not easily swayable, so I'm looking forward to that one.
The thing is, I know nothing about you, so
Exactly.
I'm going off of how do I get this over to any general person?
That's right. See what your selling skills are like.
Exactly, yeah. So, speaking of talking about comic books, let's get right into our first segment, Week in Review. A lot of books have come out. I've noticed on the Twitter timeline, Dragon Ranger, hopefully he's in the chat, but he posted a giant stack of books for this week that made me feel totally inferior in every way possible, because my stack is not that big. Emmet, what was your week in review like? Talk about all the comic books that you have, and then your top 3, starting with number 3.
Yeah, my stack is never that big, so I never try and compare. You can never compare the size of your stacks. I'll tell you that much.
Stacks are insane, man.
Yeah, I don't have the money, the resources to buy that kind of thing. So usually mine's pretty small. I usually only buy I don't want to say for sure things, but I do take some chances as well. So I read a bunch of stuff through the Let's Go podcast. We get Image books and DC books and Marvel books and all that kind of stuff. So I read a lot, that's for sure. But my top 3 for the week, I guess my bronze winner is Something is Killing the Children 18 from James Tynion. It's one of my favorite series right now, and this new arc that they're doing, this is the 3rd issue in the arc, is really taking us back to show how Erica got and blended into the House of Slaughter, into the House of or the Order of St. George. So that's a really interesting thing, seeing why she is the way she is, why the Order is the way she is, and just learning that we're getting a spin-off sequel or series to Something is Killing the Children called The House of Slaughter, written by Tynion and Tate Bromble. Seeing like the idiosyncrasies of this whole world is really exciting, and that's where this issue really came in, kind of blending in the world, because we know that they're getting a Netflix series of Something is Killing the Children. The world is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and with issue 18, it really helps build that world some more. So that's my bronze winner.
And Sergio, before we go on, Sergio, I'm surprised. I'm going to call you out here because normally this is in your top 3, but I don't think it made the cut this week.
Well, you know what? In all honesty, so with Something is Killing the Children, because as you guys know, this book is doing monster numbers. The values of the single floppies are like ridiculous. So I don't open up my single issues at all. I don't touch them. I grab them to be honest, for spec purposes, and I trade weight. So the second is because we're on the 3rd volume right now, right? So I'm always
so that's 18, right? So
it's actually the 4th volume. This is the 4th volume already.
Yeah,
so
there's
already been 3 already.
I just grabbed the 3rd volume, which I'm about to read. So I'm always at least six issues behind.
Well, how many issues are in their volumes?
Like 5 in some of them. There's short ones.
But I mean, it's been great, and I'm excited to kind of dig into that what do you call it? The offshoot, the
spin-off series.
The spin-off, excuse me. Yes. And you guys see they're releasing like 1/1000 ratio variants for that book, The House of Slaughter. Just massive numbers. I'm not surprised it's your bronze medal. Emmet. Yeah.
All right, that's your bronze. Something is Killing the Children. So what is your silver, Emmet?
Yeah, my silver is issue 5 of Better Ray Bill from Daniel Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer. This whole series has been bananas. Like if anybody's read any of Daniel Warren Johnson's other stuff, Murder Falcon and Wonder Woman Dead Earth, you know that his art style is ridiculous. And with Mike Spicer on colors, I think they really, really blend together. This book is something that I never knew that I even needed. I didn't know that I needed a Better Ray Bill story. He's a character that when I started the series, and even with issue 5 at the end of it, I still basically I don't know much about him. But that's the skill of Daniel Warren Johnson in the writing and the art that this final issue made me a Better Ray Bill fan. Like there's some splash pages in this book that are just beyond recollection. Like you just can't even believe that some of the stuff this guy puts on paper, like even that one right there that's up on the screen, like the scope of this comic book is ridiculous. And Daniel Warren Johnson loves doing the little people. Better Ray Bill hasn't been a star of a comic book, and and with Wonder Woman Dead Earth, he took a story that shouldn't have worked, but again, the book is incredible looking. I can't wait for a hardcover of this whole series, and issue 5 is it's a perfect ending to that story.
So it's only 5 issues then.
Yeah.
Interesting.
For being a miniseries, this thing is bombastic.
Yeah,
it just looks wild just to look at.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like I said, the colors from Mike Spicer work perfectly with Daniel Warren Johnson. They're a great team. I love the whole series, and issue 5 was a perfect ending for sure.
It's funny you said that, you know, it was the series that you didn't know you needed, and I've heard a lot of like similar comments like that. People are just really digging this, and it just kind of came out of nowhere, and really surpassed a lot of people's expectations. I think, knowing that it's only 5 and the trade should hopefully just be around the corner, I'm looking to pick that one up.
Yeah, 5-issue series are interesting. Like we just talked about it with Something Is Killing the Children too. It doesn't seem like you have to be invested that much. You know, it's a nice, easy read. 5 issues. I love that size for like a mini arc or whatever.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, same. I really like something where it's either 5 or 12 issues, something where you can tell a complete story and then just kind of like it's done. You can move on, do something else, right?
All right, Better Ray Bill, silver medal winner. What's your gold, man? What are we looking at?
Yeah, so the gold is I think the best comic book on shelves right now, and that's the penultimate issue of Strange Adventures from Tom King, Mick Gerards, and Evan Doc Shaner. This is issue 11. It's such an incredible story from start to finish, but this issue specifically really blends the past and the present day of the story that Tom King is trying to tell. And as you see right there, it's Adam Strange and his wife literally talking in the present for the entire issue. But it's like a perfect drama. Like I try to picture it like if you guys have seen the movie Marriage Story with Adam Driver.
Yeah.
And like in that scene where Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson are just having that fight, like that fight scene is this comic book, and it's absolutely incredible. The writing from Tom King, he's not for everybody, but I think he wrote this comic book particularly well, and the art from Mitch Gerards in the argument scene is outstanding. And then when you flash back to the past stuff with the stuff on Ran with Strange and Alana, Evan Doc Shaner is on another level as well. I'm really excited to see where this goes. The end of this issue ends on a pretty big cliffhanger. I'm really excited to see what the final issue has. This was my gold medal winner, and if we were ranking comic book series for the entire year, this would be that winner as well.
Whoa,
yeah, I'm
really?
waiting to get the full trade for this, because I like you. I really like Tom King's writing. I know it's controversial for some people. I really enjoy it because I like what he does in terms of taking some C or D list characters and he kind of revamps them a bit. He gives them more of an edge. He makes them kind of relevant, gives them personal issues, and the stories that he tells with those characters are generally 10 to 12 issues. It's a nice complete story. He did that for Mr. Miracle. Looks like he's doing it here for Strange Adventures, and I think Tom King excels really well in the trade format, right? When you are reading it chapter, it feels complete. I know
I was
some
just
people,
about to say, with Rorschach and with Strange Adventures, I'm collecting the singles for Rorschach. Haven't read them since issue 1, just because immediately I could tell, okay, it's another Tom King book that, you know what, it's better formatted to just kind of binge it at once. So I'm looking forward to reading both of those stuff. But yeah, I'm hearing like a lot of great stuff about Strange Adventures. So.
And it's the same thing in terms of, for me personally, I love his Batman series. And part of the reason I feel I love it more than most is I waited for the trades on there. And when I read it in the trades, it flowed so much better. Like I can't imagine finishing one of those issues and then having to wait like 2 weeks or a month or whatever the release schedule was for that, because he does take his time for some issues. Some issues are just slow, kind of drawn out. It's to slow the tempo. It's to, it's pacing, right? It's pacing for the story. And when you read that as a trade, it works really, really well. So I'm definitely looking forward to this.
Tom King doesn't know how to write a linear story either. So he jumps back and forth all the time. Like in his Batman Catwoman series that he's doing right now, I find that incredibly hard to read issue by issue, just because of there's 3 different storylines happening in one book. And same with Rorschach. It's so confusing that I find reading that issue by issue rather difficult. So I think those 2 will be ones that I'll have to pick up for trade. And like you said, Steve, just reading them all the way through, I think it'll just benefit those stories greatly.
Absolutely. I think DC should really look into kind of changing up some books. I don't think every book needs to be released as a single issue. I think sometimes they should wait for the whole thing to be a trade and just release that as a complete thing, because you're you get people who sometimes are like, oh, Tom King's a terrible writer, and I think it's based on how it's released for his
How you
story.
consume it.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with TKO Publishing at all?
Oh yeah,
I haven't read any of their stuff yet.
So then Emmet, that they release their all at once.
Yeah, it's like Netflix.
They're single issues, but they release them as a set at once, which is
I like that.
I think is a great idea, man. I mean, like, why more publishers are not doing something like that? So I mean, TKO is ahead of the curve on that one, but I find just in general, I'm preferring to consume stories at once in the trade format. They just flow so much better, man.
Yeah, I agree. And DC's doing something now a lot lately with their Black Label books, where they're just doing 3-issue series with extended pages or whatever, 50-page issues. Yeah. I know they're doing that with a book that comes out next week, I think, from Brian Azzarello, Joker Kills the Suicide Squad, I think it's something it's called.
Cool.
And I know the new series that was just announced from Matthew Tomlinson and Andrea Sorrentino, the Batman the Imposter book, is another one that's just a 3-issue and extended pages. So I think that's it's a way to put more pages, more story into one issue.
That makes sense though, because they did that. They did that with Harleen. They did that with Three Jokers and Last Night on Earth. Batman Last Night on Earth. I think that format works really well for the DC Black books. So, Emmet, bronze was Somebody's Killing the Children, silver Beta Ray Bill, and your gold was Strange Adventures.
That's it.
All right, Sergio, what did you read this week? How big was your stack?
My stack was stupid thick this week. I had like 20 plus. No Dragon Ranger level.
Yeah, I saw you post that, and then I saw him post his stack, and I'm like, it's no comparison.
Yeah, you can't compare it to. I'm not even trying to compete with that guy. There was honestly so many books. Like, I feel like any other week, I'd be remiss not to mention they didn't make my gold, silver, and bronze, but like books like OBE, guys, Made in Korea, okay. Darling is a great one that I feel not enough people are talking about it, and you should. It's such a fantastic read. And then the Blue Flame #3. You guys know how high I am on this series. Adam Gorham, Chris Cantwell. We had them on last week. If you haven't seen that interview, check it out. It's up on our channel. These books didn't make my top 3, guys. And any other week they would have been in there easily. That's how good this week was. So my bronze medal winning book of the week, the last book you'll ever read. Man, wow. Bun came through big time with this one. Straight out the gates. Just a crazy, maniacal read. I believe the artist's name is Layla Lates. She's doing some really, really fun stuff in there. The premise of the book, this book here is released to the public, and it's seemingly affecting the population when they read it, and it's causing readers to kind of revert back to like their raw, basic, animalistic nature. Chaos ensues, man, and it's just fun and interesting from the first page. If you guys haven't read it, I definitely get on it. Great stuff. Have you checked it out, Emmet, at all?
I haven't. I was talking with Chris about Chris from Let's Go about it last night, and he was really high on it. So I put it on a pull list at a comic shop that I have. I think I'll get it in a couple of weeks. But Colin Bunn's the horror man, so I'll take any movie, any issue of comic that he brings out with horror man. He seems like he's everywhere. He's got another book coming up. I wonder if you guys will talk about that at the end of the week or at the end of the show. He's got a new one coming out even next week. He just seems like he has a new book out every single week. And
I don't know how
I'm here for it. I don't know how he does it either.
It is unreal. The guy's putting out literally every book. He's got at least one title out. He's currently, I think he's got like, I don't know, at least half a dozen ongoings, if not more. Easy.
That's what I was thinking too. 5 or 6.
it's unbelievable. I don't know how he does it. So that's my bronze, the last book you'll ever read. And if you guys haven't seen them, check it out. They put out, Vault released a couple like X-rated covers for those books. They come in like black poly bags so you can't see them. Really cool stuff there, guys. I recommend. This one you guys might be surprised that it didn't get the gold. It's the silver. That Texas blood.
That is shocking to hear from you.
Yeah.
That you didn't give That Texas Blood. This is like one of the only episodes where we're actually changing up the format and calling
Stop
it
the show.
Bronze, Silver, and Gold. And you gave That Texas Blood, your baby, the thing that you can't shut up about. You gave it a silver.
Yeah, you guys, and you exactly. Steve said it. You guys know it's my favorite title. And it speaks to how strong
your gold is.
I'll get to that. But regardless, man, That Texas Blood number 8. Honestly, guys, this is like masterful writing. I cannot say. I've lost how many different ways to say how good this series is. This particular panel.
I really love this page here.
So what Jacob Phillips is doing in this new arc is he's switching his art styles from digital on the left to traditional inking on the right. And he's switching the styles between the present, which is on the left, to the past on the right. And this one here is like it might have been the centerfold.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But so I opened it up and I'm reading this, and it's done so incredibly well that my eyes, it's like a slow pan in a film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm getting that right now.
Time periods, and my eyes are going from left to right, and then I'm like, oh shit, he just did that. He just switched it, and I loved it. I can't believe what this guy's doing. Jacob Phillips, he just upped his art game like next level in this arc. And then you've got Chris Condon, the writer of That Texas Blood. He's got a short career, but in his short career, he's like quickly become a straight up, honestly, man, a master of setting the tone, mood, of the pacing. Okay. I mean, like I love a slow burn, but his setup game and then the payoff is I don't even know what to say. Just it's incredible stuff, guys. It's the best. It honestly, for me, it's the best book out.
Except it's your silver.
Except it's my silver.
What is your gold?
It is my silver.
Except for this one over here.
And it hurt, but you know what? I had to be honest with myself. My gold, here it is, guys.
Wow.
Superman.
Wow.
Son of Kal-El.
We were talking about this last week, and I was kind of with Lauren, where it's like it's got to be like a reset for the character. It's got to be pretty, set the base for what it is, kind of cookie cutter, and it's your number one. It's your gold.
It's my gold pick, and I'll tell you why. I didn't know what to expect from this. I'm not a fan of John's character being aged up. I hated it.
It's something we could definitely talk about in our discussion.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that on controversial editorial decisions later on in the show. But so my expectations, I didn't know what to expect, but I had a feeling. I said, listen, if anybody's going to write this next generation of Superman and is going to hit it, it's probably going to be Tom Taylor. I've been hoping to see him on a Superman ongoing for years. I think a lot of fans
agreed.
And I opened up the book, and from page 1 to the end, I was grinning ear to ear. It's what a Superman book should be. I was just happy reading it. He nailed the tone, the character, what he's trying to do with Jonathan Kent as this new Superman. Man, I gotta tell you, such an enjoyable read. Knocked it out the park. I couldn't have asked for a more perfect number one for a Superman book.
Yeah. So for this specific one, we've done it a few times where there's a special request made where we want to show the dialogue in the book for a specific reason. And Sergio, you requested that we show the dialogue for this book.
Yeah. So
and I can kind of see why. Like it does sound like Superman. It sounds like what you'd want a Superman to talk like.
Man, this page here, this interaction, this scene just really hit me in the feels. You know, you've got this character in a crisis, and Superman, he kind of comes in, does what he needs to. He comforts the character, you know, brings him down, and he's letting him know, you know, I'm here for you, man. And he did it. Go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say that kind of Superman, like that's what you want in a Superman book, and that's kind of like what I get when I watch Superman and Lois. Is that kind of that Superman who's all about the people. He'll put himself in danger for the people. He'll make sure that everything's okay, regardless of what happens to himself.
Yeah. But you know what I liked about it, and why this hits scene? It didn't feel like corny or forced, you know, or just like, you know, this is like a Superman line, so let's insert it. No, man, it felt like organic and natural, and it hit completely. And then you know, you've got the artwork. This the artist's name, Timms. Are you guys familiar with this guy at all? John
No,
Timms. John Timms. I'm not too familiar, but I love the artwork. It's colorful, it's bright, it's vibrant. And then, you know, this last line here, man, it gives you a hope that really, I'm picking this up. I'm gonna be collecting this Superman series, because I've dropped all superhero titles.
Yeah.
Marvel, DC. I haven't been collecting a Superman since about halfway through Bendis' run. But I'm picking this up. I'm adding it. Hopeful. It's what I want from a Superman book. Tom Taylor's, man, like, you crushed it, man. 100%. I loved it. Gold medal winner for a reason. It knocked out the defending champ. Wow. Go and pick this up, guys. That's how good this is, man. I was going from ear to ear.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that. Well, one, because again, not a lot of people like the decision to age John up, and you're already starting the book off really rough dealing with that in terms of the character. Yeah. It's really interesting that's your gold.
And
I might have
you
to
know
check
what?
it out.
I forgot to mention, but yes, Stephen, thank you. And for that extra reason, it was because now I'm kind of like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm okay. Like, you know, I can see Jonathan Kent.
Maybe there's something there.
Yeah, maybe there's something there. This will work out, and he managed to do that. So, you know, shout out to the creative team on that book. Steve.
Yeah.
What does your comic book haul look like this week? I want to know what your gold medal and silver medals are.
Well, it's no fat stack like Dragon Ranger. He dicks the cake this week, as I couldn't imagine. So what I had for this week, I felt bad last week during Copper Drop saying there wasn't a lot of good number one picks to choose from. So I put my money where my mouth was, and I decided I'd pick up some number ones, which is something I don't do often. So I ended up reading Swamp God, number one, by Heavy Metal Elements. I got on to my usual Marvel bullshit with Amazing Spider-Man, Sinister War tie-in, 71, so we're inching closer to Nick Spencer's run ending. And I mentioned this last week. I picked it up last week, but I didn't have time to read it, so I read it this week, and that's Mom. I know Joey in the chat mentioned if you like the art in the last book you'll ever read, Layla Lights, it's the same artist for Mom, so you'll like the art in Mom because it's the exact same. Okay. And this is written by Amelia Clark of Game of Thrones fame, and this is her first comic book, and it does have that feel. Like, it does feel like it's someone's first comic book, and there's some misses that happen personally when I'm reading it. It didn't really pull me in, but there's some good bones there. Like, it's a good story underneath some stuff. So I think check it out. There's only going to be 3 issues for this, and it's a really interesting read. Nice. That being said, those are just the honorable mentions. My bronze pick, as Sergio will say, is the same as his. It's the last book I've ever read.
Nice.
Honestly, I really enjoyed this book. I don't want to say much else because I don't know if we mentioned this before, but we actually released an advanced review on this book earlier this week. So once this show is done, go check out that advanced review and you'll find more detailed thoughts on this book.
Yeah.
Just honestly, it was a fantastic read. I've been quoted as saying it's my perfect number one. I don't want to get that out of context, but it does check off all the boxes that I've made for number ones, and it makes me want to read number two and see what happens in this story.
Awesome. Okay.
And yeah, so check out our advanced review of this. And my silver pick is something I didn't think it would be, and it's our Copper Drop. It's fantasy number one. So I don't want to say too much on this because of our Copper Drop. Obviously, I'm going to rank it a little bit higher because it is my silver. There's a lot that goes on in this book, and I really enjoyed it. But there'll be more to discuss later in the episode. And that brings me to my number one. Another number one that I picked, I just looked at covers, and apparently you can judge a book by its cover because I did just that. And I picked up Black Beacon, number one, by Heavy Metal Elements.
Wow. Honestly,
I've not heard anyone talk about this book. Check out this book if you can. Please. It is really, really good. It's a sci-fi story. It's dealing with like this alien planet where there's a bunch of different alien races on here. And there's this one human that shows up who happens to be a writer. And they were sent to this planet to kind of explore it and write about it and to see if it's actually a viable method for humans to be sent. And a lot of shit happens in this first issue. And I honestly, all I can say is the art is what did it for me. It is absolutely beautiful.
That's crazy, bro.
It's stunning. It's stunning how beautiful and colorful it really is.
That is gorgeous. Yeah.
I can't kind of overstate it. Like it's the artwork that kind of does it. And I read Swamp God first, and when I finished that, I was like, I don't know if I want to keep reading a Heavy Metal Elements book because Swamp God was not my thing. And then I went into this, and immediately I see the first page and how colorful it was. And it's so intriguing because it doesn't give you any answers, and you're kind of the protagonist in a way where you're like, what is going on with this world? What is going on with these things? What's that Green Lantern looking thing? What does it do?
Steve, listen, you got him. I think we finally got him. Dragon Ranger, he didn't get it.
What?
Whoa. I don't think that's happened before. That guy picks up everything.
Well, Dragon Ranger, add this one to your fat stack because I found it to be really good.
That's Who's just the publisher on that one?
Its publisher's Heavy Metal Elements.
I've never heard of them before.
Yeah.
So what I've gathered is Heavy Metal releases like their magazine, and within that they do short comic kind of things in there. And what happens is they'll take those short comic things and then they'll release them as single issues by itself under the Heavy Metal Elements published brand. I honestly didn't know anything about Heavy Metal Elements. All I know is of like the old 80s movie, right? And yeah, I was honestly surprised how good Black Beacon was. Me personally, it's a number one. I didn't know what to expect because I just saw it and I was like, that looks cool. I'll grab that. That looks cool. I'll grab that. And
that's
because otherwise my stack wasn't that big. And I'm like, I should give number ones a chance. And I'm glad I did with Black Beacon.
Steve, who's the artist on this one?
The artist on Black Beacon is Sebastian Perez. Or Perez? Yeah. Writer is Ryan K. Lindsay. Artist is Sebastian Perez. I've never heard of them before. Honestly, I was really surprised.
I'm gonna look into that. I might have to pick that one up. I think you.
Yeah, and it's honestly, it's a book I've not seen anyone mention. I tried finding the few screens that I have, few previews, and it was only a few places like comicspeed.com and other places that had preview pages for this book. Like, no one is talking about it.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that you judged the book by a cover, and the cover was so good. That's how I judge a lot of number ones.
Like it's a really
especially
cool
if you don't
cover.
know about it.
Yeah. That's funny. So you guys will head to your shop, look at the cover. Will you look at the interior
No,
as you're
no,
like,
I
because
will.
it's in the bag at my shop. It's all
Hmm.
in the bag, right? It's all in the
oh,
plastic bags when it's on the
okay.
shelf. So it's like you can't just toss it. You can't just do that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I went in knowing nothing.
I mean, I'll pick up a book based off of the cover, but then I'll look at the interiors to see if I actually want to like purchase it, right?
Yeah,
Um, but
this was a blind buy for me.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pleasantly surprised by this one. Swamp
Okay.
God kind of turned me off. Black Beacon brought me back on. So my
Steve,
bronze
yeah, bronze.
was
Yeah.
the last book you'll ever read. Silver, Amazing Fantasy #1, and gold is the Black Beacon #1 by Heavy Metal Elements. I think
Love
that's it. That's it for our week in review.
Man,
A lot of books were released this week.
a lot of books, man. So many books, man. One of the better weeks.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and continuing with this Olympic theme, Sergio, you've got a thing going on with medals or something.
I do. I might have a little something planned for us guys. So what I wanted to do is just a little mini Canadian Olympics to celebrate just the amazing Canadian creators out there, man. Honestly, I don't know if it's I'm just noticing it more, but I feel like Canadians, man, they're like, a lot of them are just on top of the game right now, man.
Yeah.
Putting out amazing content, and sometimes I won't even realize that they're Canadian. So it's not even a bias, like, oh, he's Canadian, so he's dope. No, like I look at it and then I look into like, oh, who's this writer?
Yeah.
And then, oh, this guy's from BC. Wow, pretty cool, right?
Yeah. You'll grab the book, you'll open it up, you're like, who's the artist? Oh, Canada. Canadian artist too. This is amazing.
So we're here, man. Just to celebrate, have a little bit of fun, a little bit of silliness. It's the Olympics, right? So we're doing the House of Nerd Canadian Olympics here. Steve, are you ready to throw that up?
All right.
That bad boy?
I'm seeing a bad boy maple syrup, a Canucks hat we got going on there with some pancakes.
So this is how it's gonna work, guys. We've got three categories, okay? 3 finalists in each category. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go one by one down the 3 finalists. Steve, Emmet, you're gonna throw up. We're judging their
and the
work.
chat.
And the chat, yes, of course. Chats, we need you guys to get in this because you guys are gonna be deciding who gets bronze, silver, and gold medals here. So in the chat, simply put in your score from 1 to 10. Throw it into the chat. So
No decimal points.
No decimal points, please. Yes, thank you. Nice round numbers. So we're scoring 1 to 10, and what we're doing is we're basing these creators on their current works. So let's try not to take into account, maybe things that they've released in previous years. I think that's pretty straightforward. And then, Steve, Emmet, you guys are going to throw up your scorecards. You're going to be judging their body of work, their current body of work, and then we'll tally it up and we'll figure out who's got bronze, who's got silver, and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Ready to do it. Let's get it.
Ready?
Chat, are you guys ready to list off some numbers and judge things? Because as human beings, all we do is judge things.
Yeah.
We judge comic books. We judge other comic fans and their preferences.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're doing that all here in a fun segment.
Okay, so the first category, what are we looking at here?
What are we looking at?
All Canadian finalists. I should have thrown up the screen. Self-explanatory. We got our boy Captain Canuck. Let's get into it, guys. Best artist, finalist #1. You guys know him, Adam Gorham. He's a favorite of mine, local to the Toronto area. I tried to get some different examples of his works. You can see his line works, his pencils. You got the Blue Flame on the left, one of his variant covers on the right. So, throw in your scores in the live chats, 1 to 10, 1 being, not so good, 10 being, off the charts. and then Steve, Emmet, when you're ready, you let me know what your scores are because I can't see you guys right now. So
Right. Okay, so chat's already going off. We've got Joey saying he's giving Adam Gorham a 7. Dragon Ranger's also going with 7. Emmet, what are you going with?
I'm going with a 7 as well.
7 as well.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the comment section. I don't want to be ostracized just yet, so
Okay.
I'll toe the company line there.
Yeah,
All right.
I feel like I'm gonna get judged here as well because we did have him on the show fairly recently. I'm going with everyone else.
There we go.
With the grain, people. Number 7. He gets a 7.
7 from my man Steve. And what are you guys thinking? What is the average score from the live chats there?
I'm gonna say it's 7.
7. Yep.
All I'm seeing is 7s.
Well, let's call it 7. So we've got Adam with a score of 21 right now. Let's find out who finalist number 2 is. Who do we got? Jason Feybach.
Oh
man, to me, the GOAT, the greatest of all time Batman artist. I don't think anybody has ever done it better than him. I absolutely love his work. Not to sway the audience and Steve too much, and Emmet. But I mean, I think his work speaks for itself.
So, Joey P here has said he's not a loosey-goosey with the 10, so I don't think we're going to see any 10s coming from him.
Oh,
to back that up, he gave the book Jason Feybach a 7.
Oof.
Dragon Ranger gives him a 9. And anyone else in the chat, what are you rating Jason Feybach?
Joey, listen, man, you're giving his a 7. Come on, bro. At least a 9. At least a 9. Yo, Emmet, what are you giving our boy Jason Feybach?
That's a 9 for me.
9.
I'm with you, Sergio. I think he's the best artist to ever draw Batman.
My man.
You can say what you want about the 3 Jokers, but the book is a perfect drawn and colored book by Brad Anderson as well. So yeah, he's top tier for me.
I love that.
So you give him a 9. I'm gonna give him a solid 8. A good old 8 here.
A solid 8.
A solid 8. Please,
solid 8.
Okay.
And with the chats giving 7s and 9s, I think we should average the chat to be 8 as well.
8?
Yeah, I think that's a fair. That's
okay,
fair.
So we got
8, and 9.
9, 16. That's 23, right? No. 8, 8, 9, 16, 24, 25.
25.
25.
We don't need math on this show.
Come on.
25. So
25.
That's finalist number 2. Finalist number 3, guys. Ken Lashley. Now this one might be a little under the radar for some of you guys.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah,
He's
same.
Another local Toronto guy, but as a Toronto area guy, as you can see, I mean,
Very detailed.
that's his. So the Moon Knight, excuse me, on the left is one of his variants to the new Moon Knight book that just
great.
Available everywhere, guys. And then the middle panel is some of his blank cover works there. And then you got Venom on the right. To me, yeah, I think he needs to be spoken about more in terms of just one of the better just artists in general right now, man. Putting out a lot of work.
Is his interior pages similar to his cover stuff, or is it?
He doesn't do a lot of interiors. He's mostly a cover artist.
Okay.
Right now, yeah. So, are you guys ready to drop your scores?
Ready?
We've got Dragon Ranger in the chat saying an 8.
Okay, that's fair.
Emmet, what are you saying?
That's where I come in line as well. I go with 8.
Hey.
Yep. And I'm gonna follow suit because I don't like being my own individual. I'm going with 8 as well.
8. Okay.
Why be an individual when you can just follow others?
And then, what are you guys thinking is the average score from the live chats here?
I'm gonna say
Got to
8.
be an 8. Yep.
An 8. So we got a score of 24.
24.
There.
Yeah.
So we got Lead Killer at 24. Jason 25, Adam 21. So Jason Feybach is our gold medal. Lead Killer at 24 is our silver, and Adam at 21. So I don't have any gold medals, guys. But what I do have is this cool gold Legion of Superheroes ring. So Jason Feybach, you are the inaugural winner, House of Nerd Canadian comic champ. There you go. Man, that was a lot closer than I thought it would be there between
I think the right man won, though.
Yeah, I would say so.
Joey is pointing out that he doesn't feel it's fair because covers tend to be more detailed than interior pages, which is correct.
Okay, that's true. That's
and he's saying we got to do apples to apples, Serge. What are you doing?
Okay,
You're going oranges with apples and mixing it all together into this fruit basket that nobody asked for. It's definitely not Joey P.
That's the best thing. Sergio can do whatever he wants.
Fair enough. You bring up a good point, guys. Let's keep it going. Our next category, best writer. Who do we got? Who is our first finalist? Zach Thompson. Zach Thompson. Now, you guys don't know. I believe he's originally from the BC area, and man, he's dropped a bunch of heaters this year. I Breathe the Body, which I recommend to everybody. Just an insane body of work there. And then he's the co-writer on Undone by Blood, along with Lonnie Nadler. That came out this year as well. And then Lonely Receiver came out late 2020 into 2021. The trade paperback, I think, just dropped in April. His body of work, I think, it's speaking for itself. If you guys aren't familiar, get familiar with his stuff, man. Zach Thompson, man. Of these three.
So Dragon Ranger is saying a 9. Joey P is saying an 8. Emmet, what are you saying?
I'm going to go with 7 on this one, based on I have no idea who this writer is, and I'll just do above average.
Okay.
You know what?
But I like that I'll be able to put a new writer on my list for buying some comics. That's for sure.
Out, man.
So because I'm glad you admitted that, I also have never heard of this writer. I might have heard of his name, but I've never read anything by him. So to be as fair as possible, I got to give him an average 5.
Ooh.
I can't say whether it's good or bad. It's got to get neutral, man.
Wow.
I don't feel bad.
What you gotta do, what you should have done is you should have kind of like just cheated and Google like searches like books and get at least an average rating of 5. Okay.
I'm no cheater here.
Okay.
We'll
5
say
it is.
We'll say with the chat being 8 and 9. How do you want to sway this, Sergio?
You're saying the chat is going between 8 and 9?
Yeah.
You know what? Let's give him a 9 just to bump up like your low 5.
Hold on. In a rating of 1 to 10, a 5 is not low. A 5 is neutral. A 5 is average. A 5 is good. You did a good thing, right?
Okay. So with 9 and 5, that's 14, and then 7. So his score comes to 21, guys. Not too shabby, a little lower than I would have thought. That's finalist number 1. Who do we got next? Canadian comic creators, Chip Cedarski.
Ooh, all right.
Chip. I mean, I honestly, I don't think I even need to say anything. His work right now is top fucking tier. Crossover number 7. He's not the regular writer, but he subbed in for Donny Cates on that particular issue. And I'm just gonna let you guys know that was one of my favorite single issues of this year. Just a lot of fun, meta, crazy stuff, and then obviously you guys know his work with Daredevil, and Stillwater. So what are you guys thinking?
I mean, it's also amazing to know that Chip also does art as well. Like he did all the art for Sex Criminals. Like this guy just does everything.
Yeah.
Dragon Ranger is giving him a perfect 10. Joey P is giving him a 9, which for Joey, as he admitted before, is probably as close as he's ever going to get. and Marklin is giving him a 8 for Cedarski.
Okay.
Emmett, what are you giving?
I'm going with an 8 as well.
An 8. Okay.
I like Chipsy. I'm not as hot on his Daredevil run as other people are, even on Stillwater. But I do admit that he is one of our nation's best writers for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm following Dragon Ranger because he knows best. He gets a perfect 10 out of me.
Hey, man, Steve coming through.
Whoa.
So with the 10, 9, and 8 from the chat, we'll average that out to be a 9.
9. So we got 19 plus 8. We got 27. Damn.
Yep.
Okay. To be expected. I mean, anything
Yeah,
more
absolutely.
than that, I think would have been surprising. Finalist number 3. So it looks like whoever this is going to fight it out with Chip for the gold medal, guys. Who do we have?
Who could top him? Oh,
yeah.
Lemire.
Lemire.
Oh,
Okay.
dang.
Yeah.
So underwater welder. We're talking. Oh my god.
Well, his current books that he's been. I mean, you know, his catalog. I mean, is ridiculous, insane. He's put out a whole bunch of stuff. But this year, currently, what he's been putting out, you know, includes books like Ascender, Barbalian, which I haven't read myself, but it's been like critically acclaimed, and then Black Hammer Reborn has been coming out this year. So this is some of his current works, guys. We're gonna try to judge it on what he's putting out currently, not things like you know, Sweet Tooth and all that.
So you want to go? You don't want to go back as far as Essex County or anything
No,
like that?
no. Let's keep it just to keep
Good
it
old
fair.
Canadian book, Essex County.
We gotta keep it current stuff.
Okay, whoa, hold on. So, red alert. Joey P gave Jeff Lemire a 10, and he said he's not loosey goosey with the 10s. This is big news. Dragon Ranger also gives him a 10.
A 10. Please. Okay.
We've got a 9 from the chat too. Emmet,
what are you thinking, bro?
Yeah. So based on current works, I'm giving 9.
9.
Based on his entirety, he's a 10.
I would agree with that.
But you know what? Ascender it's got one issue to go.
Mhm.
I've been reading that all.
Yeah.
It's very good. Barbalian Red Planet, he wrote the story, but the script is by Tate Brombrell. So I'm gonna kind of give him a faker on that. And Black Hammer Reborn's only 2 issues in right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to judge him on that. But
a 9 is fair though. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
He's my favorite writer of all time. So
yeah,
I'm following suit with a 9.
Mm-hmm.
And with the chat, there's more 10s than 9s. So we'll give the chat. Joey P got it with the 10. The chat gives them a 10. So we've got 9, 9, and a 10, bring it to 28.
28.
Whew.
28. So
love to see it. Love it.
Jeff Lemire just squeaks out the win against Chip. We got Zach Thompson with the bronze, Chip Cedarski with the silver, and you know, Lemire, who I would agree, I think is the GOAT. You get the gold Legion of superhero.
How many Legion superhero rings do you have?
I've got endless.
Beautiful. I love those things. Those are awesome.
Too many to count. He's the champ, Lemire. I think probably the right guy won this one here. Again, last category. So you know, it kind of was telling you guys, you know, having a little fun with this last one. It's a comic show, so our last category is gonna be best comics. That is the category. Best comics, but with a little bit of a twist here. You'll see what I mean. Best comic finalist number 1. Who do we have? Hold on. Hold on.
I see what
Comedian.
I'm seeing with my eye holes what you're doing here.
This is not a comic book, but he is a comic. He's a Canadian comic at that. We're talking about comedians here. Final category, because men. You know, we got a lot of great ones over the years.
Do you think they're called comics because they're comedians on mics? Do you think that's how that happened?
I've never thought of that, but I think that absolutely makes sense.
Dragon Ranger, without hesitating, is giving Jim Carrey a 10.
A 10 right off the bat. Okay.
He's got some solid movies.
I'm sorry, and his body of work, guys.
Yeah.
The Mask.
Ace Ventura. The Cable Guy.
You know what? People don't speak about Man on the Moon as one of his better films. If you guys haven't seen
it's
it,
a good
man. Have you guys checked it out?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
His performance is like just off the charts, and if you've seen the movie, check out the documentary released on this.
Yeah, it's nuts.
This guy stayed in character, Andy Kaufman's character, for like the entirety of the filming, and he took it like next level. I don't recall the name of that documentary right now, but
It was Jim and Andy.
Is it Jim and Andy?
Yeah, it's either Andy and Jim or Jim and Andy, something like
Okay.
that. I watched that before I watched Man on the Moon.
Yeah,
It made me want to watch Man on the Moon because I'm like, what is going on? And then
it's insane.
yeah, so we've
Emmet,
got.
what are you thinking? What's your score? What are you giving Jim Carrey?
So I'm going to give him a 7.
Whoa.
I'm not as high on Jim Carrey as a lot of people. I understand his relevance and his long-standing career that he's had.
Okay.
But I'm not going out to see a Jim Carrey movie because of Jim Carrey, really.
Right.
As a kid,
Dumb and Dumber, buddy.
Oh, as a kid,
Dumb and Dumber
as
is
a teen,
fantastic.
I'm all about that stuff. But
Okay.
as I'm getting on in age, like my favorite Jim Carrey movie lately is Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay.
So Serge,
Okay,
we've got Dragon Ranger giving him a 10, Joey giving him an 8, and we've got another 10 in the chat.
So I'd say what average it out to 9 for the audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I am giving him a 9 myself.
9. So we got 18 plus 7. That's 26. 9 is high. Hey, but I can't.
Well,
I
that's
can't argue with
25.
that, man.
18 plus 7 is 25.
Oh, excuse me, 25. The math was. We got Steven. Thank you. I appreciate that, bro.
Don't worry, I'm bad at math too. I got my calculator going on here.
Yeah, man, Jim Carrey. I grew up with him, so he's one of the goats to me. Finalist number 1. Finalist number 2. For me, who is it? Is my personal goat, the man, John Candy, guys. This is my guy, man. His body of work speaks for itself. Uncle Buck is an absolute classic. The Great Outdoors, another classic. And then, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. For me, I don't think there's been a better comedian than John Candy. Rest in peace, man. I love the guy. What are you guys thinking? What is the audience thinking?
Dragon Ranger is giving him a 7. I'm gonna start this
Dragon
one.
Ranger. You're getting blocked on all the social. Bro.
We've also somehow are giving him an 11.
Oof.
Thank you. I'll take it.
I'm gonna go with Dragon Ranger. I'm giving him a 7 personally.
Wow.
Steve.
I haven't seen too many movies with him in it, to be honest. So I can't really judge as well.
Really?
Yeah. Raw Comics is giving him a 10. Joey P is giving him an 8. Numbers are all over the board here on
big variety.
Candy. What about for you, Emmett? What do you have?
I'm going with a 9 on this one. I love John Candy. I love John Candy. Uncle Buck's one of my faves.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So we're giving the audience chat an average score of 15.
I don't think that counts. I would say an average
7,
of
10,
9.
8.
So 7, 8, 10, and 11. I would average that out to be a 9.
That sounds right.
Yo, we got a tie right here. We gotta come up with some. I don't know. So we got 9, 9, and 7. John,
which is 25. Yeah.
25. Jim Carrey's at 25.
So who's our third finalist? Maybe they can beat it.
I had to make it interesting, guys.
Dragon Ranger's breaking your heart, Serge. He says that he never thought John Candy was that funny.
Wow.
Yeah, as I said a moment ago, you're getting blocked on all the shows. I will not tolerate any John Candy slander. Let's final
Comic.
Nominee. Number 3, the cast of Schitt's Creek.
You can't give a whole cast.
Oof.
What?
I did it. Listen, man.
That doesn't count.
This is one of, if not the greatest Canadian show. I love this stuff, man. And like 99% of the cast is Canadian. I think the only one who's not, of the main characters anyways, is the mayor of the town. What's his name?
Yeah. I've never seen the show, to be honest. And
Wow.
that is going to reflect on my judging because
Okay.
I only judge things that I know, and sometimes I'll judge things I don't know.
Okay.
And in my judging, it gets a solid 5 because I've never seen an episode. And
Steve, you're a hard judger. But,
I'm
okay.
a critique.
Okay.
Film Noir is giving a 10 to the whole cast of
fair.
Schitt's Creek.
It's fair.
Dragon Ranger's giving it a 3.
A 3.
Yeah.
My man is not only wanting to be blocked, but like you gotta get reported, my man. Like, wow. Emmet, what are you thinking, bro?
So I just want a little bit of clarity on this one. We're talking the cast who act in Schitt's Creek or the cast outside of Schitt's Creek?
I'd say the cast who act in Schitt's Creek, yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, if you're going that broad, it has to be within the show.
okay, so that's a 4 then. Which, I think the show's awful. I love both Dan Levy, Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara. They're legends.
Yes.
But I find that show deplorable and awful. So
really,
yeah.
So we got another chat is saying 8 based on Eugene Levy alone.
That's where it's at for sure. But the Schitt's Creek's a terrible show.
Canadian legends, man.
In the chat, we've got a 3, a 10, an 8. I would average that out to that's like 7.
6, 7.
I would say 7.
7. Okay. So we got 7, 4. That's 11 plus 5. That's 16. You guys, man.
Yikes.
That's what happens when you go a whole cast, man.
You went off the board, and so did everyone else.
Yep.
So you know what? We got a tie for the gold medal here, which I'm okay with. I mean, I think Candy should have taken it, but I'm okay with Carrey being the co-winner. He gets the gold Legion of Superheroes ring. John Candy, Jim Carrey.
They have to share it. They do a rotation. Monday, Wednesdays, Thursdays. Carrey gets it
every other Friday.
And that does it, folks. Man, you know, congrats to the winners. Thank you everybody for playing. I had a blast. Dragon Ranger, I'm never speaking to you again, buddy. Absolutely disappointed in that. Wow. I don't know what to tell you guys, man. That's it, man.
Yeah, much like the artist and the writer, like there's a lot of options.
A lot of options. And Emmet, man, you're that low on Schitt's Creek, eh?
It's awful. I don't find it funny at all. I hate it even more that Americans love it so much.
The popularity just
Nico and Zednik and from Vigilante 1939.
Yeah,
always talking about Schitt's Creek.
Okay.
It just annoys me that they like it so much.
Okay, but at least you've redeemed yourself with the John Candy love.
John Candy, I'll take John Candy any day.
I mean, I'll say, Emmet, you and I have given quite the controversial opinions on those selections that Sergio gave. And speaking of controversial things, we'll head into our discussion. We're talking controversial editorial decisions. Let's kick things off because, Sergio, your top book for this week is Superman, Son of Kal-El, which in a way is part of a big controversial editorial decision, which was aging up John Kent. He was a little baby boy, and now he's, I don't know, 17 or something.
Yeah. You know what? I'll just straight up, man. I loved Jonathan Kent as Superboy. The dynamic between him and Damian and the Super Sons books and the stories, the Super Sons stories within like the main like Action Comics, the Superman, all that stuff, I think was some of the best stuff I've read. And just that period of Superman Rebirth by Tomasi and Gleason and Jurgens on the Action Comics was top tier. Some of the best Superman stuff in the last 20-30 years, if you ask me. It
felt like change was actually happening, and it felt like it mattered too, right?
Yeah. So I loved it, man. You know, being a father, being a parent, it just brought an interesting family dynamic to Superman, which I think, was what's your opinion thinking of?
Yeah, Serge. Joey's calling you a crybaby. That you need to stop.
Hey,
you need to wipe your eyes with a tissue box and get over it, because apparently, Super Sons books are still being released. But I think the problem is it's in terms of timeline. Now it's only released. This is when it can happen. These books can only be released before the age up, and there's no agency there anymore. It doesn't matter because it's not
canon, so it doesn't feel like
Well, even if it is canon, you know everything's going to be okay by the end of the story because John Kent ages up.
Yeah.
Right.
Emmet, what are your thoughts on the decision to age up John?
Yeah, so I agree with you about the Super Sons. I think that's some of the best stuff we've ever seen Damian and John Kent do. And Tomasi writing it. He's one of DC's best writers ever. Yeah. I don't really think it's that big of a deal about the age up, especially now with what we got from Tom Taylor, right?
Yeah.
I think it'd be different if what we got was basically all that Bendis was doing with him, which was not good. So I guess that's where I lie with it. It's more about the writer that is involved with the aged up John Kent rather than the decision to do it. I think in the right hands, which is what we saw with Son of Kal-El #1, Tom Taylor gets it. He gets the idea of it being aged up. And going back to that issue altogether, seeing him and Damian together again just made me think of Super Sons. It made me realize that, and Damian's got his own things going on. He's a different Robin. He may not be aged up, but he's a different Robin than he was back in the Super Sons as well.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with the aging up of John Kent because of Tom Taylor's first issue of Son of Kal-El.
Yeah.
So what exactly would you say you have an issue with in terms of controversial decisions or controversial editorial decisions? Because I know Sly Steven in the chat is mentioning Amazing Spider-Man, the Gwen and Norman, what is it, Sins Past or whatever it was called, and also the divorce between Peter and MJ, which One More Day, which I think is probably the biggest controversial editorial decision that I can think of is the the reversal of decades of Peter and MJ being married. Like you're getting rid of so much characterization and lore, right?
Yeah, I agree. And like when you guys asked me this question about to come up with some ideas for this show, I kind of had a blank answer. But I went to some friends of mine. I went to my buddy Nico over at the Vigilante 1939 and asked him. And this is the first one that he said was the Spider-Man and MJ one.
I think it is too.
Yeah, so I'm not into it. I barely read Spider-Man comics right now. I definitely wasn't reading back then. But this is the first one that he said, and I think for Spider-Man fans, it really affected everything that was going on.
Yeah, I mean, take into account the fact that, say you were reading the book at the time, out of nowhere, all of the books that you just read don't matter anymore. They sort of happened, sort of didn't, depending upon whatever ends up being called canon in the Brand New Day era of Spider-Man. So it's like all of the stuff that you loved about Peter and MJ being a married couple, them growing up, actually living their lives together, all of it just wiped, gone. All of your money that you spent on all of those issues just out the window. They don't matter anymore. And I think that's the biggest slight, is that you're taking something that people love and you're immediately just saying it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The last comment there from Joey about, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to just keep pumping out the same old content, or should they change it? That's my biggest issue with Marvel Comics right now.
They don't change.
Well, they do a little bit. Like I tried to read Avengers. Like, it's not the Avengers. Like it's not what I know what the Avengers should be. And I try to read Thor. Thor is a little bit different than what I think Thor should be. And Spider-Man, all the stuff that's going on right now in the Nick Spencer run is just I don't connect with it. So I get the idea of change. This stuff happens every once in a while. DC reboots every 2 years. Marvel reboots every month, every week. There's always something different going on. So I get the idea of it, but going so hard against what fans want is not the right decision, I think.
Yeah.
And that's tough, man. It's crazy because there's so many different segments of these fandoms. You're never gonna please everybody. You're always gonna have different, for these massive legacy characters, right? Whether it's Batman or Spider-Man or Superman. But I tend to agree with one of the reasons I stopped reading Marvel several years ago was they were just changing these legacy characters too much, and they weren't the characters who I grew up with, right? I think you can have, interesting stories, dynamic stories without changing the characters into something completely different, right?
Yeah. So the interesting part is a lot of people love the Superman Tomasi stuff. Like you mentioned, Sergio, you love that. But part of what you love about it is the fact that it feels like Clark's able to grow. He has a family. He's a dad now, and you get to see that growth. I think a lot of comic readers like growth in small increments. I think we like seeing these characters age up, and the average comic reader age isn't 18-year-olds, So I think we want to see more aged up characters. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having Peter and MJ being married. Stop making him the teenage Spider-Man. You've got Miles Morales for that. You have you build up these newer characters to take on the storytelling points that you wanted those characters to take. So like the whole Peter and MJ thing was, oh, Peter's looking too old. We have to make him appeal to younger audiences and all of that jazz. So let's make him single again. And it's like, you can just have another character do that. Miles Morales is right there. He's the teenage Spider-Man. Do all the teenage crap you want to with him. Grow up, Peter and MJ. Try to make it more relatable to the average comic reader.
Yeah.
I think people love that, right? Like Tomasi's run proved it.
Yeah. Yeah, with Spidey in particular, I was okay with him kind of growing up and going through stuff. What I didn't like is his whole becoming like a Tony Stark type character. And
the Parker Industries stuff that happened in Slott's run. Yeah.
I'm not into that at all. So I guess that's another controversial editorial decision. I wasn't a fan of that at all. I find the positives and negatives of comic books is there's that point where it's like, oh, we're going to change everything. And then by the end of that run, bring back the status quo. So like the Parker Industries stuff was game changing. And then Slott's run ended and he lost the company. He's now broke as shit. He has to take another normal average day job and he's like a nobody again. Right. So it's all for nothing. You're just pissing off fans for
it doesn't matter, right?
Well, that's the thing with comics. As much as you may hate something that's changed, like a recent one is DC Future State. We knew that was going to end. We know that this current storyline of they're going into Fear State, if it's eventually going to end. Everything always ends, but they just try and make their bucks up as they can, right? If they can make a couple extra dollars by doing something controversial, then they'll do that, because with comics it always returns back to the norm. It always, we're always looking to go back to what feels good, what feels right, and eventually, usually comics always do after their weird choices.
Yeah. And in the chats, if you guys have any other controversial editorial decisions, let us know. Emmet, you touched on the whole 5G thing. That was on the tip of everybody's tongue there. Everybody was talking about that when they kind of released those plans, Dan Didio, when he was still at DC. Yeah. And a lot of people were up in arms about that, myself included. So correct me if I'm wrong, the plan was to replace all the legacy characters like Batman, Superman with new iterations of these characters. And I think it might have been set in the future as well. Right? Like, I don't know how far down the line, but it was going to be line wide. So for Wonder Woman, for Green Lantern, everybody, all these characters.
It was like a reboot in a way, right?
And that was going to be the main continuity, the main world, the main line of books. Obviously it didn't come to fruition. Didio left. For me, I was not feeling that at all. What are your guys' thoughts? Steve, Emmet, what are you thinking? Would that have been? How would you have felt if that would have if it would have happened?
I would have. Yeah, I would have been okay with it. I think the character is always bigger than who is underneath the mask. Batman is Batman. I don't think Batman is Bruce Wayne. I'm okay with Dick Grayson as Batman, or they're trying to do Tim Fox as Batman right now. We got Wonder Girl with Yara Flora. She would be a great Wonder Woman, and even Nubia. She's coming. She's got a book coming out where she's going to be the Wonder Woman. We have John Kent basically as Superman right now. I'm okay with that kind of stuff. What I'm not okay with is just bad stories, which is what Future State was. The next Batman with Tim Fox, written by John Ridley, was not a good story all the way through. The Superman of Metropolis, that kind of introduced us as John as Superman, was not very good. The Green Lantern wasn't very good. The Robin book wasn't very good, where they kind of brought back Tim Drake a little bit. I'm okay with that kind of stuff, though. Batman is Batman. Superman is Superman. If it's written well, like Tom Taylor's Son of Kal-El is. I can accept anybody as Superman.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, line wide, you would have been okay with just the complete overhaul and
for sure. Yeah, like I said, I'm invested in Batman. I'm invested in Batman. I'm invested in Superman. Not like I get Clark Kent, his 50-50 as Superman and his alter ego, but anybody with John Kent now is Superman. I'm okay with that too. If it's written well, if it's written at the heart of the character. If Batman is Batman, I'm okay with anybody who's under the cowl.
Yeah. I'm kind of in that same boat. Like I really want change to happen in comics. I want things to matter, and I think the way to do that is to build up new characters to take on these mantles.
Yeah.
But that could just then be another controversial editorial decision to some other fan, right? It's really hard to kind of weigh what decision you should do and how it'll affect certain fans, right? Some people like things, other people don't. I think it's a hard thing. Honestly, I think it's a hard thing to gauge whether you do change things so much to push certain fans away to gain in some new fans, or I think it's a balancing act.
Yeah, I think that's the idea, and that's what was good about Future State is the new characters we got out of it. We got Yara Flora, we got Nubia, we got Tim Fox, more of Tim Fox, I should say. They don't have to be the main line. You can keep Bruce Wayne as Batman and then have Tim Fox in another whole world being his Batman. I think that's the idea of all these, decisions that editorial wants to make. It's not about making everything the status quo. It's about having more than one status quo. And that's DC's whole thing right now with, Infinite Frontier going on. Like everything matters. Every Batman matters that they have right now. And I think that's the way to go around it.
Yeah, I think Joey's kind of agreeing with what you're saying. Sergio, what are your final thoughts on controversial editorial decisions?
I mean, there's always going to be controversial decisions, right? I mean, fans are never going to be 100% like all on the same page on board with decisions. I think, you both have hit the nail on the head, and everybody in the live chats has basically been saying, as long as the stories are good, man. I agree. I mean, if a good story is gonna trump everything else, and that's one of the reasons why this was my favorite books of the year. Not necessarily. I love the idea of having him aged up, but at the end of the day, nailed it. And the story was fantastic. So, I mean, I think that's where I'm at. I mean,
Yeah. So we're taking a big controversial decision like aging John up, and the outcome right now is a really good book. I think that's a great way to end this discussion. Is sometimes things can look bad as they're happening, and they could shake out to be much, much better.
Yeah, I mean, just you look at the whole Miles. People hated that.
Yeah,
people hated that, and now for like a large segment of Spidey fandom, he's their Spider-Man, right?
I was going to say I'd rather see even in the movies, I'd rather see a Miles Morales movie than a Peter Parker movie.
I'm with you.
I love the Bendis run of
Ultimate Spider-Man.
That absolutely incredible. The best Spider-Man that I've ever read for sure.
Wow.
And again, as long as it's Spider-Man, as long as Miles Morales feels like Spider-Man, what do I care who's underneath the suit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we all love reading books, and just as much as we all like reading books, we all like talking about the books that we read. And to do that, you should go on over to Twitter at TO Comic Book Club, click on the Discord link, and join the Discord for the TO Comic Book Club, where each week we will discuss a single book in all aspects of it. And Saturday, we ended up discussing Black Widow Volume 1, The Ties That Bind. This is the most recent Kelly Thompson run of Black Widow, the one that just won an Eisner Award. And I think she won or she was nominated. Anyways, really great book. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to spoil too much. Check it out. If you've never read a Black Widow book, this is the book for you. It feels very much kind of like a grounded Black Widow story involving a perfect life of hers that ends up kind of unwinding in certain ways. I honestly say check it out. If you've not read a Black Widow book, check out Black Widow, The Ties That Bind.
This was the book that won the best new series, right? Like it beat out Philadelphia and some others for the Eisner. Yeah.
It won something. I don't know exactly what, to be honest. But whatever it won, I agree because it's honestly amazing. Check it out. It's the current ongoing series.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So, all right.
for future TO Comic Book Club stuff, announcement, we are no longer doing Saturday book discussions.
Oh,
I know, big change. We're actually going to be switching things up to be Tuesdays at night, and more info will follow on that on the Twitter and on the Discord. And hopefully this allows more people to show up during a weeknight when they might not have a whole lot going on.
that's pretty awesome, buddy. Yeah. Oh man, I'm sure. I hope, and I'm sure that Saturday afternoons are tough, right?
They are tough, and I think
so-
we've noticed that the past
Yeah.
year we've been doing it is it's harder and harder to schedule something when it's in the middle of the day. So hopefully the move to TO Tuesdays will be a lot more
Oh,
enjoyable.
I dig it.
I
Hashtag,
know.
you guys start using it. TO
I-
Tuesdays, baby.
A whole new
Okay.
branding's going to be coming out.
Yeah.
But yeah, just give you guys the announcement right now. And we are not starting with this Tuesday. We're going to take a week off.
Nice.
And August, there'll be 4 books we'll be able to discuss every Tuesday. And that'll be laid out on the Discord. So
Awesome. Guns
At-
blazing.
at TO Comic Book Club on Twitter, join the Discord, and you'll find out more info there.
Very
Thank
cool.
you. And shout out to Sigler. Yeah, he confirmed the Black Widow did win the Eisner. Beat out
Yeah,
Philip
honestly, it was a really, really solid
Thanks,
volume
buddy.
1. Really good.
Okay, cool. Nice.
But
What do we have coming up?
we're not
what's
here to
good?
talk Black Widow. We're here to talk Amazing Fantasy #1, the book that Lauren picked for us, and she's not here.
Hi, Lauren.
Yeah.
How you doing? I haven't seen her in the chat, so hopefully she's enjoying her vacation day. It's the last one you're gonna get this year. No more days off.
Yes, days off, not classes and courses that you have to take because we hate the British. All right, Amazing Fantasy #1. Emmet, you've read this book as well. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm glad you guys told me to read this book because, I let it slip by my radar. When I get looking through Marvel's weekly books and you see one called Amazing Fantasy, you just kind of skip right over it because it's not, a bigger name. But I loved it. I remember finished reading it and asking myself, what did I just read?
Yeah.
I didn't, I had no idea what it was. So going in blind to this first issue is absolutely a must. Don't read who it's written by, who it's drawn by. Don't read the synopsis, nothing.
Okay.
And I think that benefits great. We just finished talking about it doesn't matter how much you change as long as the characters feel like the characters. The Captain America in this, he sounds like Captain America from 1940 to me. Spider-Man, Peter Parker sounds like Peter Parker. I don't know much about Black Widow, but still seeing her in this, it makes me think of Black Widow. I was incredibly surprised. And this first issue is one of the biggest issues that I can remember that's going to make me want to read the next one.
Yeah.
Going to make me want to read the next one.
Okay.
It's such a great first issue. And I think more people should read it. I'm glad that I did. I've been telling everybody about it who reads Marvel Comics, or even if you don't read Marvel Comics. I think it was a fantastic issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's high praise, man.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun to read.
And hey, Carrey Andrews, Canadian boy, we're crushing it.
Nice.
Sergio, what are your thoughts on Amazing Fantasy #1?
I'm gonna start off with the art, in particular the Black Widow stuff portion of the story. I thought was insane. That's just dope.
Yeah. So we should mention that before I guess they go to this island or whatever, each of the characters, the Captain America, Spider-Man, and Black Widow, depending upon what era they're from, it feels like the artwork is kind of
pulled from that era.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
in a way. Where
Absolutely, I was so
for Captain America, you can't really notice it, but if you actually are reading it, all the backgrounds have like the Kirby dots and stuff. There's a lot of dots in the background that make it feel like an older comic, especially like the texture, the kind of yellow, saturated texture of the page.
Yeah.
And then you go to Black Widow where it's very stylized.
Yes. Yeah. That's so. I think the art was the strong point for me.
Yeah.
So the premise of the book is you have Spider-Man, Black Widow, and Cap pulled from different eras during their Marvel Universe career, right? and they're dropped into this like amazing fantasy island type deal. And so Carrey Andrews, he manages like the different styles for the different eras, and it really fits. Like, take a look at the Spider-Man stuff. It fits his era of this particular Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, it's so colorful too. Like, even the colors are dependent upon what era it's pulled from.
I mean, yeah, it's great. So I love the switch in style. And then each character, it sounds like those characters, right? They each have a unique voice. Emmet, you said Cap sounds like 1940s Cap, right? Spider-Man in particular, that sounded like Spidey, the Spidey that I grew up on, right? So that was great. So he managed to capture, each character's voice really well. Now, the story itself, the premise and all that, for me, it didn't really interest me at all.
It's very much a setup issue.
Yeah. I wasn't like, I kind of just went through it reading. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, for me, the strengths is what I just spoke on. Was the art and how he captured each character, but the story was a miss for me. I wasn't like, I don't have no desire to pick up issue number 2, really, right? So this is a tough one, man. Obviously here's Copper drop. I'm gonna say this one is a drop for me.
Okay.
It didn't really speak to me.
Interesting.
On a personal level. Yeah, I know. I have a feeling I'm probably gonna be the odd man out on this one. But yeah, I mean, it's weird because this is a weird drop because the strengths outweigh the weaknesses.
Yeah.
But it's still it wasn't enough for me to, like, at the end of the day, I think, do I want to grab issue number 2 now? And if it's a no for me, then I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm dropping this, right? So that's kind of
right. So what's interesting for me is I didn't expect how well this book would be sold. I went into the comic shop and the owners there were just, I asked them about this book and they were surprised, like how it's actually flying off the shelves for them. And I didn't expect that for this book. I expected walking in and seeing like a stack of Amazing Fantasy number 1s still, just
it's true.
That's funny.
It's true. I'm an indie guy.
I'll agree with Sergio. I think the big highlights of this book are the different art styles within it. Just the range that's used is really wild to see.
Oh yeah.
In terms of number 1, it's such a huge setup issue. It's showing you the characters are the characters from those eras, and then they get pulled into this island. Mm-hmm. And I think for an issue 1 for me, I think it did a really good job because the ending of it was so surprising that it made me want to keep reading. And I think in terms of, I agree with you, Sergio. It being a setup issue is kind of a detriment to it. Mm-hmm. I hope that the setup is just something where they need to get out of the way, and the story really unfolds in 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Because I think this is only a miniseries of 5 issues.
Yeah.
And I think kind of agreeing with what you said, the positives outweigh the negative, and I can appreciate it being a setup if I think there's something good coming.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve.
No, go ahead. I would say, Emmet, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think that's the key. And like I said, I love this issue, but it could very quickly go right off the cliff.
Absolutely.
Like if issue 2 doesn't, continue on with what we saw, if it doesn't go to a place where the story is telling us it's going to go by that big reveal at the end, then it could be very quickly just be, a waste of a 5 issues if that's the release schedule. But for an issue 1, I think it's great.
Yeah.
And again, you guys mentioned the art, like the art, if it's any other art, if the art's the same all the way through, the book doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely.
The different styles it has to change. But for this one issue, I think I want to read more. I want to know what's going on with Spidey at the end, and I think that's what matters for me. And like I said, it could go quickly off the cliff, pretty sharp with issue 2. But for issue 1, I think it's for sure a cop for me.
All right. I'm also going with that sentiment too. I love where this book is headed. The ending just makes me want to read more, and for that, I would say it's a cop.
All right. Where's our banner? Yeah.
It's a cop.
It's a
not
cop,
not
yeah.
unanimous, but a cop
There we go.
nonetheless.
It's a cop. Yeah. And you know what? Yeah, I can't be mad at that decision. I mean, I see why you guys would want to continue reading that, eh? So it's a good one, man. You know.
Our decision.
Oh, there it is. There you
Cop
go.
this book.
Thank you. Who
Check
pulled that
it out. Lauren did.
Okay.
From her
Great.
classes.
We love it, guys. Okay, you know how it works, man. You know. All
Amazing
right.
Fantasy number 1, a cop from us. But
Mhm.
that's just the first part of our Copper Drop segment.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Emmett, you're the guest here, which means Sergio and I are going to have to sway you a bit. We're going to have
Yes.
to convince you to have us pick up a book to talk about next Sunday.
Mhm.
Sergio, how about I just let you? You can
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You know, my pick here, the Me You Love in the Dark, number 1. It is from Image Comics. Okay, you've got the great Scotty Young writing this one. On interior art is George Corona. So the premise here, uh, ta- 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 ta, uh, an artist named Roe retreats from the grind of the city to an old house in a small town to find solace and inspiration without realizing the muse within is not what she expected. So fans of Stephen King, it goes on to say fans of Stephen King and Neil Gaiman will enjoy this beautiful, dark, and disturbing story of discovery, love, and terror. Yeah, it's an Image book. I've got 2 creators who I'm a fan of here, and just the premise. It sounds something different, interesting than your usual fare. You know, I'm a fan of the indie. I don't know if you can indie, Image, but yeah. I'm honestly, man. I took a look at the list of number 1s, and I'm very, very much intrigued about this. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of people are kind of on your side with that, Sergio.
And I hope Emmet is too. I hope Emmet is too, buddy. Don't let me down, my man.
So I'm a fan of Scotty Young.
Hey.
I love this book. He's written I Hate Fairyland.
Mhm.
He did Middle West with Corona as well.
Yes.
I was a fan with about half of that book or half that series.
Mm.
I'm down for any horror books. Number 1. I'm down for this book for sure.
All right. Well, but hold on. Before we hear what your judgment is,
I have to pick. I have to pick between one or the other. Oh boy.
Yeah, you have to pick between one or the other. And in my book, I've totally come to play. My book is Porcelain.
Ooh. Okay.
It is written and art done by Maria Lovett, and the description for this book it's a little bit more horror centric than I would say Sergio's is. So, stuck inside an ever-changing mystery house that hunts children and turns them into dolls, Beryl goes on a psychedelic journey where she must face the notion of her own limitations and move past them before she becomes the building's newest prey. Kidnapping children, stuck in a dollhouse, turning into porcelain dolls. Very horror centric. A lot of horror vibes in this book. It's also done by one creator. Like this is a fantastic pick.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, Steve. It's not a bad pick. It's not a bad. Maria Lovett puts out good content. I've been picking up and reading a lot of her stuff, but it's not better than the Me You Love in the Dark. I mean, you already know.
I don't know. Joey P's saying it's a very solid pick.
Yeah.
So picks, the comics aside, I would say the sales pitch, Steve, you're a lot better. You know how to talk it up a little bit. Sergio relied a little bit on familiarity with Scotty Young and Corona a little bit.
I'm going with something new.
This is a tough one.
Tough.
I'm still gonna go with Sergio's pick. I am personally more excited for that book than Porcelain. I hadn't heard of that one before. I will be picking it up for sure now and reading it.
Yeah.
But my pick is Sergio's for sure.
Before you do that, maybe we should just have you toss a coin.
All right, I got one.
Toss a coin.
You want me to do it?
No. We're going with the Me You Love in the Dark. But in all honesty, man, I think this was a great week because you could not have gone wrong with either choice, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be picking up and reading Porcelain as well.
I will too, and I think that's the thing,
Yeah.
Steve. Like you showed me a book that I hadn't heard about. I had heard about the Me You Love in the Dark before, and spoilers, I've read it already.
Sick.
So,
Nice.
but Porcelain is something for sure I will be picking up. And what's the publisher on that one?
That's a Blaze.
Yeah.
Blaze. Oh, I don't know that one. All right.
Blaze, they put out some heat, man. They're pretty
Okay.
good. A smaller indie publisher. But
I love that we're both you guys both picked horror comics, though. That's true to my heart. So I'm glad you guys are both and I'm glad 2 number ones just like that coming up. That's awesome.
Well, that's how Copper Drop works. We only choose number ones.
There you go.
But
in the dark.
Honestly, I'm glad this got picked because looking at the list of the books next week, that was going to be my top choice, and then Sergio was just like, "No, I called it, fam," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll go with something else then."
I'm surprised Cullen Bunn's Lucky Devil wasn't one of them. That's the number one next week.
I looked at it and then I was like, I can't do another Bunn. We can't have another Bunn in Copper Drop. There's so many Bunns.
Yeah.
Every week we could do a Bunn book.
I know that guy's nuts.
There's got to be some variety, man. But you know what? I don't even think I saw that one. So
I definitely did. And I was looking at it and I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
But next,
you should get it though. It's Lucky Devil. I've read it also. It's very good. You guys should for sure check it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of his stronger releases.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see how next Sunday, Copper Drop, we'll see how well the Me You Love in the Dark. If we end up hating it, we only have Sergio to blame.
That's right.
It's true.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I think the Me You Love in the Dark is gonna be dope, man. Right up my alley.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Emmet, thank you so much, bro, for coming out and hanging out with us, man.
Oh, you guys are the best. Again, I watch every Sunday. You know, I'm just honored that you guys asked me to come on, and I love talking comics. I love talking about indie comics too. It seems like everybody's talking DC, Marvel, so I'm glad that we got some Image talking, Dark Horse, Boom, everything that Steve brought up, Blaze Comics. I'm always down for that stuff.
That's
heavy metal elements.
Heavy metal elements. Yes,
guys.
thank you.
Thank you once again for having you on. And
came through in the clutch.
Yeah, what is Let's Go Podcast? Let's plug that one more time. What's the schedule you have going on there?
Yeah, so first of all, you can follow me at EmmettDavis7 on Twitter. You can follow the Let's Go Podcast on Twitter right there. And just go to www.letsgopodcast.com where you can find reviews for movies, comics, TV shows. We've got a bunch of people writing a bunch of stuff. Chris Evans and I do a show on Saturdays or Sundays. Let's Go Live. And in your podcast feed, just find Let's Go Podcast where you can find the Let's Go Comic Show from Justin Kowalski, Matt Ritchie. They usually come out on Fridays.
Nice.
We also have a YouTube. Just again, if you go to the website, www.letsgopodcast.com, you'll find information about everything that we got going on. Again, guys, thank you so much for having me on. It was an absolute blast to celebrate Canadian content because, like we said, we don't know that everyone's, there's all these good comic creators that are Canadian, but some of the best ones in the world are Canadians. So.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And the Let's Go Podcast YouTube page link is in the description, guys. So make sure you check out the show. Subscribe to their channel. Great stuff. I checked out. I was hanging out with Emmet and Chris last night.
Thank you, sir.
That was a lot of fun. Those guys are always entertaining. All things nerd, man. So,
So
we love it.
Speaking of checking things out, Sergio, where can people find you on the internet to check you out?
Man, you guys.
We're not talking your OnlyFans though. No OnlyFans.
I
mentioned that last night on the show, Sergio. You missed it, but I was expecting this just to be an hour and a half of setting up your account. Trying to get the conversion rates right for the American people who want to come in, how much they got to pay for Canadian.
Oh man. And if it was up to me, it would have been an hour and a half of fans talk. But we gotta talk about. We gotta get the comics talks in here. But yeah, man, you guys already know the links in the description. Hit up my Facebook page. insert name comics, man. You know, I'm your comic plug. I love to connect you guys with all these dope books that we talk about. You know, we read it all, and I want to connect you guys. You know, I got pull list requests open, back issues, variants, all that good stuff, man. Check it out. Check it out, man. Steve, where
Yeah.
can everybody find you on the World Wide Web?
Well, like it says right here, you can find me on Twitter at StovePost.
Yeah.
On Twitter, you can also find the Toronto Comic Book Club at TO Comic Book Club. It is open to everyone. We have a bunch of people who are not from Canada, not from Toronto. It is open to everyone. And like I mentioned, we're going to be changing things up. So in August, we're going to be doing TO Tuesdays during Tuesday weeknights. Still selecting time. I think it'll be at around 8 p.m. Eastern time, probably. So be on the lookout for that update of things.
Yeah.
And if you want more House of Nerd Show content, YouTube, House of Nerd Show, you're already here. And Twitter at House of Nerd Show.
Yes.
There you'll find a bunch of tweets and polls and all these things to be interactive with what we're doing.
And
thanks
and
again.
Lauren
Don't
would give us shit if
don't
we didn't
forget,
say, please
like,
remember, guys,
like, favorite,
the video,
subscribe, ding that bell,
all that good
ring
stuff.
a ding ding, do it
All
all.
that good stuff. I've already got her messaging me. She's like, where's that plug, guys?
Where's
like,
the
subscribe, all that good stuff, man. You know, you guys are digging what we're doing. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, please. Thank you for coming out each and every week, man. You guys make the live chats live. Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you so much, Emmet, once again. Yeah, it was a great one.
Lauren, we didn't burn the house down. Everything's
Love
okay.
you, Lauren.
Oh, there we go. There's our girl. Thank you, Lauren. I said it. Hit the bell. So yeah, you know, thank you guys so much, man. Appreciate it. And we gotta do it again soon. The all Canadian episode has come to a conclusion. You know it, baby. 3 good old Canadian boys. We love it. The House of Nerds show.
Thanks for coming. You'll see us next Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. As always, same bat time, same bat YouTube channel.
And we
have a good Sunday, everyone.
All right.